been seeing today.
You're going to do a great job.
I wrote the bill, and I've also written a novel about Tom McCall. I'm really lucky to have it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll let you take it away.
All righty. Good afternoon and welcome everybody to a great day for the history of Oregon, a great day for the future of Oregon. I was just saying to a lot of folks how, we're looking at a who's who of Oregon for the last 50 years. My name is Bill Hall. I had the great honor of writing Senate Bill 333, which Governor Brown will be signing in a few minutes, which proclaims March 22nd, Tom McCall's birthday, as Tom McCall Day in Oregon. Yay. I want to acknowledge the principal sponsors of our reception, the Oregon Capital Foundation. Thanks to them for helping to put on that great spread we enjoyed. Also, to the Tom McCall Legacy Project. And if you haven't had a chance, I'd like to encourage you to stop by this table, by the television set, and we've got little flyers that will tell you how to find the website and the Facebook page for the Tom McCall Legacy Project. We are a grassroots citizen group interested not only in educating the public about the McCall legacy, but encouraging them to carry it forward. And a very special thank you, she probably wouldn't want me to single her out, but she really deserves it. Doris Penwell, who is Governor McCall's executive secretary and is, I think, responsible for tracking you all down, most all of you down, and bringing you here today and all the logistics for this moment. And are the new history minstrels ready? A group from Oregon City, they have written a song about Tom McCall, and we'd like these gentlemen to come in. Governor Brown has asked that they share their song about Governor McCall. So.
Now, Governor, we want you to know that this song we think has a lot to do with you too, but we had to write it for Tom McCall. We are Oregon's new history minstrels. We teach the history of Oregon through song and word. We'll go all over your state, any place you want. We love to do this. Christy minstrels, you know they taught folk music. We teach you about the folk, okay? All right, this song we put together for Tom McCall. Great.
Great, great Tom McCall, you're the best darn gov of all. Bright was our gov, bright was our gov. He was in love, he was in love with Oregon that day, and promised he, that he would be, the best darn gov we ever recall. And his name, of course, was Tom McCall.
What a stirring kickoff to our event today. We are going to hear from a lot of folks, but Governor's time is limited, so we're going to hear from just a couple of folks before the Governor signs the bill. First off, I'd like to invite some of the current legislators who are responsible for this bill, if any of them would like to make remarks, and Senator Betsey Johnson.
Thank you very much. Your comments about this being about Oregon's past and its future, there are so many luminaries in this room. Mr. Kogan, who served as Governor McCall's planning director, Norma Paulus, beloved Norma Paulus, our former Secretary of State. I can see Speaker Lang back in the corner back here, Terry Timchuk, who is part of the repository of the history of Oregon. I had the great privilege of knowing Governor McCall. My father and he served together in the legislature, and I joked with people that we'd go down sometimes to see Mrs. McCall at the ranch under the Rimrocks. One never knew whether one was going to be greeted with a gin and tonic or a shotgun. A charismatic, colorful character, I think, would be a good way to caption that. We're absolutely delighted that Tad McCall is here with us. This bill memorializes one of Oregon's iconic governors, and I was so proud to be part of it, along with Representative Gomberg. Thank Commissioner for giving us the opportunity to make sure that every Oregon school child knows and remembers the legacy of Tom McCall. Thank you.
Representative David Gomberg, the lead House sponsor. And with a personal connection, which I hope he'll share.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Hall, my own commissioner from Lincoln County. What a joy it is to see all of you here today, and what a wonderful privilege it was to present this bill on the House and to co-sponsor it with Senator Johnson. You know, I came to Oregon in 1972 to visit, and I stayed here. I'm embarrassed. But I want to tell you that I was a political science major at Oregon State University when visiting professor Tom McCall came to enlighten a small group of students. And every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon we'd gather, just a handful of us in a small room, and he would tell us stories. He'd tell us the real deal, how it really worked. He would tell the incidents, the effects, the facts, and name names. And it was really a wonderful introduction to how things really get done here in a remarkably unique way. I cherish those days. I remember them well in those Tuesday, Thursday afternoons. And to present this bill now, so we can introduce a new generation of Oregonians to his remarkable legacy and his unique perspective, and hope that they can take away a little bit of that inspiration into future generations of Oregonians, as I'd like to think would please him very much. So thank you all so much for being here today. This is great fun and a wonderful legacy.
And now I would like to invite Governor McCall's son, Tad McCall, to come forward and make a few comments.
Thank you, Bill. I want to acknowledge my family and friends that are here with us also, along with all of the dignitaries and with Tom McCall, because this is a real Tom McCall moment. We've got a grassroots group that comes out with this tremendous belief in Tom McCall, talks to the legislature, drafts the bill, the legislature takes action, and the governor's going to sign. You see, we've got the people, we've got the legislature, we've got the governor, and you're all working together. That's Tom McCall. Let's carry it forth. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Governor, would you like to?
I'm ready to sign.
Okay.
Tad, come on up. And Norma, where's Norma? Did she go? Norma, no, would you grab her?
Yeah, that's good.
Norma, come out there.
I'll wait until anybody else?
Norma. Norma, come.
Arnold,
We
you
want
want
you
to
in
come
the
up?
picture.
We want you.
Hi there. Right here. Right in the picture.
What a nice group of people.
They're all Oregonians. There we go.
I didn't know being governor. I didn't know being governor was that complicated. Even the signatures.
I loved his extraordinary vision and his ability to bring people together to solve problems. And we have a number of pens here, but I'm guessing one's going to go to you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Governor.
Great work.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Governor.
Great job, you guys.
Thanks, Governor.
We'd like to hear from some other folks. Senator Jackie Winters.
Gee, it's wonderful to see all of the faces from years ago. Arnold, Elaine, Roger, who was also a part and parcel. My memories of our great governor goes back to 1969 when I joined the staff. And I can't tell you what a tremendous opportunity that was. And I tell everyone that if it hadn't been for the vision of a Tom McCall, I would not have been married to a Ted Winters. And we would have celebrated this summer 44 years. Thank you, Tom. But also, I wouldn't be standing here before you if it hadn't been for the mentorship and those who were involved in my life in 1969 and through the 70s. You know, we often think of Tom, and I was thinking about it this morning, we also think of our great governor only as it dealt with land use and the beach and what have you. But his legacy for Oregon is far greater than that. His legacy for Oregon, when you look back in time and you look at the Department of Human Resources, which we created in 1971, the Housing and Community Development, which was an outgrowth of the State Economic Opportunity Office, and I could probably go on and on. And Representative Gomberg, I guess you didn't heed his message when he said, come to visit. But this is wonderful. It's wonderful, and you know, certainly that we should continue the legacy. And I know Norma is probably gone, but you know, Norma and some of us got together several years ago to raise funds to do the bronze statue that's on the waterfront in Salem, and which was a tribute to the governor. And I think that it's wonderful that we're going to continue that legacy, because certainly he was and is bigger than life. I said to someone this morning that it's kind of interesting. We didn't know what we didn't know then. And actually that was very good, because when you don't know what you don't know, you've got the courage to do. And when I think of Tom, I think of the courage and the conviction to do things, great things for the state of Oregon. So my memories of him, and I started to bring this morning my wedding picture where he was there, which, by the way, he was late. Yeah, he went to the wrong church. He went to... So truly, this is a remarkable day today, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm most humbly glad that he and Audrey and family were part of my life.
Is Kerry Timchuk still here? Did he have to? From the Oregon Historical Society. How about Ginny Lang from the Capital Foundation? And thank you for your role in making today possible.
Thank you so much. We're so happy that all of you could be in this beautiful building celebrating people and stories and the results, the products of how Oregonians work together. And in behalf of the Oregon State Capitol Foundation, thank you for coming. And if you are interested in looking us up, we're on the web. We just began an endowment fund campaign. So if you want to make a contribution to the lasting history and stories of this building and the people who work and serve in it, we'd love to have your contribution for the endowment. Thank you very much.
Arnold Kogan worked for Governor McCall on land use policy and other things, and I understand you have a Tom McCall story to share that has not previously been shared.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill. In fact, I'm pretty positive. If anyone has heard this story, let me know. I don't think anyone will have heard it. I worked for Tom McCall when I was serving as state planning coordinator in Tom's first term. And at that time, I came to know Tom as a progressive Republican, which is hard to find these days. But even then, he was an unusual individual, and a person who I discovered had great compassion, had sympathy for just common people. He had a vision that was unparalleled, and this story kind of represents all of those qualities and even more. At the time, during this first term, there was a Western States Governors Conference in Seattle. And that conference, planning and planning subjects were going to be a big part of the agenda. And so Tom asked Elaine, and I want to introduce my wife, Elaine Kogan, right over here. Hi, that's Elaine. And I wanted, and Tom asked Elaine and me to attend that conference with him. And so we agreed to do that. And shortly before leaving for Seattle, it was discovered that there was a culinary strike in Seattle, and that the Westin Hotel, which is where the conference was going to be held, was a principal target of the workers' pickets. A number of governors decided to ignore those pickets. A few didn't, including Tom. Tom said he's not going to do it out of respect for the rights and desires of those striking culinary workers. So, but the governor's office had already made reservations for a room in the hotel. So he asked Elaine and me to stay at the hotel, and he'll go over to, and he'll shuttle back and forth to a motel over in Bellevue. So with a little bit of hesitation, we agreed. So we checked into the hotel, checked into the suite, and it was a magnificent suite of room. I've never seen anything like it in a hotel before. And not only the suite itself, but the bottle of champagne on ice, the gorgeous bowl of fruit, the display of cheese and crackers. It was just something to behold. After we finished looking at all that, the phone rang. Guess who? It was Tom. So I picked up the phone, and he said, "So how are things over there?" And I said, "It's wonderful. You ought to see all these things. We got the fruit and the champagne and the crackers and the cheese." He said, "Well, let me tell you, I'm stuck in this goddamn hotel over here in Bellevue. But anyway, enjoy what you have." "I'll see you later tonight at the Seattle Center." Now that was vintage Tom McCall, because he would give up his own personal desires and appetites for a cause and a purpose much, much greater than many of us would believe in. And so I just wanted to share that story with you because I thought you'd enjoy it.
Former State Representative Roger Martin, would you like to share with us? Would be honored.
I just have a cute little story that goes back 45 years ago. I was a young representative the Nixon administration just came into office, and Tom McCall and Ed Westerdahl, as Chief of Staff, decided we need to go back and meet the people that are going to be interfacing with Oregon, the various cabinet members. We went to Washington, and one morning we had an all-Oregon breakfast. It was both U.S. senators, all 4 congressmen, there were 4 at the time, 4 legislators, 2 from each party. Vic Atiyeh was one of them, and we sat down to lunch, or to breakfast, and you got to remember, it was the Vietnam War. Tad was just about to go in the service. Somehow the subject of the war came up, and there's a bust in the back of Mark Hatfield. Mark Hatfield, as you remember, was very much opposed to the war. Tom McCall at that point was very strongly supportive where his son was just headed, and an argument ensued. It started out mildly and got worse, sniping back and forth, and finally Wendell Wyatt's changed the subject in some way. And I was sitting next to Al Ullman, and he turned to me and said, "Do these two always get along this way?"
Could I also invite former House Speaker Phil Lang, if he is still here? No, okay, he had to leave. How about Henry Richmond, who co-founded 1,000 Friends of Oregon with Governor McCall?
Actually, Betsy should be up here to tell some of this story. She was the first member of 1,000 Friends of Oregon. But the idea was dreamed up in 1974 while the LCDC was developing the statewide planning goals. And I wrote a letter to Governor McCall and suggested that there would be a need for an organization that would support implementation of those laws, given the fact that the county and city governments were given the task of saying what they meant. And there was an anticipation that those interpretations in many cases would be hostile. And he liked that idea. He said, "You need to raise $30,000, and I'll be your chairman." I said, "Okay, we'll do that." And we did it. And the point is that I remember walking into the Capitol just an hour or so ago. We drafted a press release for him that Ron Schmidt had vetted. And we went to his office, and he just, "This is good, you know." And this was January 8th. It was one of his last days in office. And he just walked down to the press room and had an impromptu press conference. It was like Jesus Christ walked into the room. All the reporters were just so delighted to see him, and he made this wonderful little speech, and it got a huge splash in the Oregonian. I think Don Jeppesen wrote something in the Journal. I saw Don here a few minutes ago. But Tom stuck with that organization until he died, January 8th, 1983. He wasn't just to sort of show up and, you know, make the press. He went to foundation meetings to get money. He campaigned until he died, literally, in 1982. He was my boss. He was my neighbor. He lived around the street from us, around the corner. He came to our kids' christenings. Russell Sadler was saying this morning, there'll never be another one like Tom McCall. And I second that motion. I'm so pleased that this Bill Hall and others have taken the initiative to memorialize his contributions and his personality and his leadership. So thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who has a memory they would like to share, a comment or two? That would be great. Otherwise, we can go back to informal mingling until, do we know when they're going to throw us out for the next big event?
Well, let's say 15 minutes.
Okay. All righty. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And please pick up a Legacy Project flyer if you haven't done so. Also, okay. And also bumper stickers.
Eric Kane is
Yes.
back.
Yes.
He's from OPB.
And
He produced the Tom McCall video that you've all seen of Tom McCall's 100 years. So he has some in case there's anybody in the room that doesn't have one.
Hey, Dora, can I also invite you to go down to Visitor Services where you're going to be doing your book signing? And there's a state seal that was given to Tom McCall on his birthday, and it's hanging on the wall in the Visitor Services office. It's a hand-carved seal, and he wanted it hang in our office down there. So be sure to look at it.